Well, obviously, and here with the numbers you see here today, from an Irish perspective, we're very disappointed. We feel that there's double standards going on. And what we mean by that is the fact that they will allow beef to come in from particularly Brazil, that we know are no standards compatible with ours. We know that there's antibiotics freely available out there, which you can't get here, and also that they are using hormones in the beef, which again has been for 30 years because they linked it with as carcinogenic. So these are the big issues here at the moment, and this is why we feel. But the other side of the coin is the economic return to rural Ireland. If they bring beef prices back down, because we see the next generation are not going to be beef farmers if the price of beef drops below what it currently is. And we feel that our beef is a superior standard, and we feel that it shouldn't be allowed to compete with substandard beef.
And of course, you're up in Athlone today for the protest. I suppose you might just give us a bit of a feeling for what's happening, the rundown for today, and what's going on at the moment.
Well, I mean, there's a massive crowd here today. You would believe the crowd. And I mean, it just shows the concern of farmers and concern of rural Ireland for what is being proposed here, or it's even been more proposed, what's been negotiated here, supposedly on our behalf, which, even our Irish government across the board have said, we're certainly not in favour of this, but yet we find that, the deal has gone through. We're here to make a strong case that, this has huge consequences for rural Ireland. And I, bring it back to my own parish. I mean, there's 50 to 100, families dependent on beef in my parish. And, you go to every parish throughout Clare, and you start adding up all of those numbers, and you realise, that there's a huge stuff from beef, from contractors to shops. It feeds into the local shop, pubs, the local school, the local GA. And if this business of beef production is decimated in rural Ireland, what do you intend to put back instead? We never hear that question. We hear bits of words about safeguards of the beef, and as I mentioned earlier, that we currently have safeguards. We're told that these hormones that you can female animals. We're told that female animals, it doesn't come into the future. This is what the Brazil doesn't export back to Ireland. But yet, this beef did come in, and it was from female animals. It was they tried to recall it. They discovered that it was actually consumed down in Italy. And then only last week we found that again, that this beef actually had got into Ireland. So it's totally unacceptable what's going on. It's totally unacceptable what's happening. And that's why we're very concerned about this. And this is why, we have a massive crowd here. I mean, they were saying they have parking space for around 3,000 tractors. I think there's 2,000 plus booked in. And I mean, they're expecting a crowd here, and it seems to be in it of 10,000 people. So, I mean, it just shows you the level of concern, but it shows you, what it means to rural Ireland and why we're very concerned with this issue.
Yeah, and you're seeing similar large-scale protests in Paris and beyond as well, and it shows, I suppose, the concern for people on the ground across the continent, not just in Ireland.
No, absolutely, it's across the continent, and but I suppose we export 90% of our beef. This is why, and it's worth about 3.6 billion to the Irish economy. This is a huge business from an Irish context, and we see nothing that will replace that in rural Ireland. There are no other options available to us in terms of the land type, and mostly, and it's particularly important to County Clare, because Clare will have a standard of having high quality beef, but high quality cattle that produce that beef. And Clare had a reputation of having those type of stock, and farmers from the rest of Ireland came here to buy their stock for their feeding. And I mean, that's why this is of huge importance for us as Clare farmers, but huge importance to us as people of Clare, And then I still go back to the other issue as our consumers. Does the consumer really want to eat, hormone beef or beef that's laced with antibiotics? And sure, we've been told for the last 30 years that absolutely not, that this is the stuff produce, and yet we find that this is what's been allowed under this deal. Totally unacceptable.
And just to finish off, I suppose the deal isn't done yet. It does have to be ratified by the European Parliament in a vote in Strasbourg in a couple of weeks. Is there any indication from MEPs as to how that vote will go, or is there optimism that it will be rejected by the European Parliament?
Well, sure. Look, I suppose there's 1 MEPs in the Parliament. We have 14, so in terms of the voice that we have there is very small. We believe that I think 11 have stayed, of those MEPs have stayed, they will vote against it. But, look, 14 votes isn't going to make a lot of a difference, in the overall scheme of things. We know that particularly German or the car manufacturers want this deal to go through. They want to sell cars in South America at the cost of our beef. And what we're saying is that the cost of beef is just not acceptable. We have a premium product here. We have a market in Europe for it. We have been, the last 40, 50 years developing this since we joined the EU, and we don't want to see it as a stroke of a pen to be discontinued.